Good morning, welcome to a new update, and today we're going to discuss Cardano, of course, as Cardano has been listed on Coinbase Pro, as we can see on the tweets above here. Cardano has been listed and will be starting tomorrow, and massively it was on support on a technical side. So we've had a correction on Cardano and now we bounced up. We might be done with the correction, who knows, but we're going to discuss it as progress is being made. Very good news on Cardano, as we can see. The community is loving it. I also loved the entire Matic and skill listing last week on Coinbase Pro. So listings have an effect again, which is beautiful. It's once again 2017. Let's get to the chart. Well, what we can see on the chart is that we are basically seeing support or potential areas of interest on ADA. And in this case, we can see that we've hit this support zone at the range between 1600 to 1800 sets, held there and started to bounce up. And we have been discussing this on Twitter previously, but we also saw this slight bullish divergence being made on the low, initiating that we were making a bounce on Cardano either way. So beautiful bounce up, beautiful rally as well, currently facing a resistance zone. That's the only point. And usually what you see is that when it starts to drop down, it's becoming shit, etc., etc. And now it starts to run back up and people start to flip bullish again while we're actually approaching resistance. So I would not try to chase the trade again and just define those price levels to buy it on based on historical price action. The first area was this zone around 2000 sats, and the second one is between 1600 to 1800. So we're approaching resistance quite soon. I'm not assuming we're going to clearly break through this entire region here. If we do, I think we will be seeing continuation towards 2800 to 3K. But on the lower time frames, I'm assuming that because of this news, we might be getting into a top relatively soon. It's a little difficult to adjust given that there is that news and there's still the listing going to occur, which had a massive impact on Matic and skill as well. But if we do not crack this resistance zone, I'm assuming that the area around 2100 sets is a lower time frame support to watch. And if that is failing, I'm looking at anything between 1900 to 1950 again for a support test. And after that, we might just be consolidating, going sideways, making an accumulation period before we start a new leg, as we just had a very nice test of the lower levels for support between 16 to 18. So yeah, the areas are still standing. We had a beautiful test, and now we're getting towards ADA against USDT, which is kind of difficult to chart in itself as there's a different construction here. But what we can see is that we've hit support, we've held support, we've hit this previous high, which became a beautiful flip in general. And you can see that this downtrend did not really continue moving downwards. So what I mean by that is that once something starts to turn around, and let's start over again. When something starts to pump, you know that you have to use historical price action to define your entry point. So in this run, in this entire run up, you can see that either any of these two are entry points. Well, we do reject and we do come down, so this area becomes a first support zone to make a trade on. However, lower highs, lower lows. Support gets tested multiple times. Support fails, comes to the next level, and that's the zone that we have defined here. Bounces back up, rejects at previous support, comes down again, tests the low, but does not really break through this support zone as you usually would have been expecting in a sign of weakness. So we've got a failed breakdown, then a bounce back up, another rejection of resistance here, another lower high, another time we go back towards support. Again, we are not fading through, we are actually holding up and making a double bottom construction, including this bullish divergence that we have here as well. And given that we have been trying to break below the support twice, easy entry trigger. So it's quite difficult to catch. But based on the high time frame support levels and the overall construction that we have here, this breakdown should have been cascading down towards 80 cents. And given that we filled twice, we could assume that we're getting into a bottom on Cardano here. But right now, what we can see is that we might be getting into a resistance zone. This is one, but given that we are making a higher high after this entire construction, you're going to look at a higher low, anything in this range. So most likely we get something like this, and then we can start crawling up again. If the market just remains normal again. How to define target zones? Well, we can use that in Fibonacci extension. The simple version is that we take the high as the 1 and the low as the 0, the latest low and the latest high. And because of that, we can start targeting $1.80 and maybe even $2.30 if this is indeed the correction that we were waiting for. So if we cannot continue moving and this is just another failed breakout, the levels are still the same. So even if we do have a breakdown again, this range has to hold around $1.05 to $1.10. If that doesn't hold, the levels here are still standing. But I hope this is giving you some information in market in which it's just correcting and where you have to put your orders. Another coin that's been seeing some FUD recently and seeing some downwards momentum is Chainlink. And Chainlink is getting into an entry point for me personally, in which we saw that we had a massive downwards drop, came to support, ran back up, comes into a resistance area and couldn't break through it. However, after this we can see that we are also making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And right now we are seeing that we might be getting into a point of interest in which we are getting into support area. So what we just discussed on Cardano is what we are going to see on Chainlink and what should be holding there up as support. So what we see right now is that we're making lower highs and lower lows. If we make a slight bounce up, retest this low again, we are most likely going to crawl back up again based on this point of interest. So we're getting there despite the fact that people are actually being bearish on the asset. And why are people bearish? Their own asset is going down. So they are biased with the view of the markets right now. However, it's just an entry point for people that are not in the coin yet. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Take care of your family. If you're Dutch, go vote, as that's very important today. And do not forget to subscribe to the channel and like my video. I'll be back tomorrow for a new market update, and I'm back tonight with a new interview with a new project. Stay tuned.